is Rishav Banerjee, and I will be the MC for tonight's solemn event. I would like to thank everyone for showing up to this vigil, as our message is very important. We must remember the lives that were lost, and work to fight ableism in society to prevent further tragedies from occurring.
Mike needs to be closer.
Before we begin the vigil, I would like to acknowledge the indigenous nations whose traditional territory this event is being held on. This region's nations include the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, the Lenape, and the Attawandaron neutral people. In addition, we acknowledge that this event may bring up strong emotions, and we would like you to know that you are welcome to take a step back or leave if required. Before leaving, be sure to pick up a self-care handout. As some of you may know, today is the annual International Disability Day of Mourning. The Disability Day of Mourning was started in 2012 by the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, also known as ASAN, following the death of a 22-year-old autistic man from California named George Hodgins. Hodgins, like many individuals with disabilities, met his tragic demise at the hands of a family member or caregiver. This is not just an isolated incident. This all-too-common form of death for disabled individuals is legally known as filicide. Filicide refers to murder committed by a family member or guardian, most commonly parents or caregivers. The Disability Day of Mourning is an annual vigil that serves to commemorate individuals with disabilities whose lives have been lost to filicide, murder, and abuse. This day is important because not only are such cases not adequately covered in the media, but are often sorely misrepresented. A recent example would include the massacre that took place near Tokyo, Japan in July 2016, when a man brutally stabbed and murdered 19 people in their sleep in a home for the disabled. Unlike other hateful tragedies that have occurred over the last few years, this had gone largely unnoticed by much of the world, with very few news outlets even bothering to report on it. Some news stories even made the killer's actions out to be mercy killings. This is a common justification used to justify killing disabled individuals, that it's a mercy killing, that our lives are so tragic and full of suffering that there is absolutely nothing to live for. This is directly linked to the cultural narrative that is pervasive in society about disability. Movies like Me Before You depict disability as something so terrible that one is better off dead, even if they're otherwise healthy. Some organizations for disability, such as autism, describe autism as an epidemic, a tragedy, something worse than cancer or AIDS, and make autistic people out to be burdens on their families. Cultural messages such as these contribute and are directly linked to the murder of disabled individuals. What's more, the perpetrators of filicide are sympathized with rather than condemned